Namaste. The divine Guru in me greets the divine Guru in you. Namaste. My name is Luca Devadas and I'm from Sweden. And I have been studying, have an interest in meditation and consciousness and the nature of the mind. Since I was first time 19 years old, I hitchhiked from Sweden to Kathmandu and to interview the Tibetan Lamas and talk to them about the teaching of Buddha. Today I want to tell you a small story which will give you the key to the mystery school and how to meditate. Because life is a mystery, and to get into the mystery you need a key. I will give you the key, but first I will give you a little introduction. There once was a god called Shiva. It is said that he was a god, I don't know, but one day Shiva and his wife were sitting at the top of the Ganga in the Kailash mountain, and he was meditating. Now Devi asked him a question, many questions, like what is your reality? Shiva was having a small smile on his face and he was resting as that joy you can have when you're resting in your inner heart. What is your reality? What is this wonder-filled universe? She started to make many questions. And then Shiva answered with many, many ways how she, Devi, his wife, could experience the highest consciousness possible for that he was in. Free from all projections, from all preconceived ideas, and well, the reality of Shiva. Now, it took 1,000 years, and then this idea about meditation wandered along the trade caravans all the way to Egypt. And it is said that the teaching of Shiva and his meditations were given in a mystery school in Egypt. And in Egypt at this time, 500 years before Christ, at the time of Buddha, there was Pythagoras. Pythagoras was a very learned Greek man. He was a mathematician and a genius, one of the most brilliant minds of the Greek culture. He heard that in Egypt he would receive the teaching of Shiva in this mystery school. So he took upon himself to travel there. He went on a boat and he went on a caravan, and he came to the mystery school in Egypt to learn meditation, to learn the nature of the mind, to learn what consciousness is. And he knocked on the door, and the mystery school, there was a little hole in the door of the mystery school, and someone looked out and they saw Pythagoras, and he said, "Hey, I'm Pythagoras, the famous mathematician from Athens." And they closed the door. He was not allowed in. He was refused entering the mystery school. So he was bewildered. He didn't know what to do. What do you do when you don't know what to do? You go to a tea house and have a cup of tea. And in this tea house, there was a strange man sitting in a corner, which was the famous saint Mulla Nasrudin, a Sufi master. And many stories about Mulla Nasrudin, but Mullah Nasruddin and Pythagoras start talking, and Mullah Nasruddin listened to Pythagoras, and he told his whole story about how he had traveled there and how he came and how he was refused at the school. Now, Mullah Nasruddin said, "You're very lucky, because I will tell you a story how to get into the mystery school." "What? You can tell me a story?" "Yes, just listen." And now comes the story that Mullah Nasruddin taught Pythagoras in the tea house in the desert of Egypt. Once upon a time there was a princess. She was looking so beautiful that from many countries around Egypt, princes came and wanted to marry her. But the king, the father of the princess, he was very upset that all these young princes came and bothered his princess, so he locked her up in a tower. And she couldn't meet anyone. She was like a prisoner high up in this tower. So one day, she was sitting there, she heard a flute played. And she looked out through the window and down, and she saw there was a prince. A prince had arrived. He had a white horse, and he was standing there playing the flute to call her attention. And it is said that wherever a flute is played, Lord Krishna is present. And Lord Krishna is the god of love. So she looked out, and immediately she felt in her heart that this prince, she loved him for some reason. No one can understand, because love is not for understanding. Now the prince, when he saw her up there in the window, he took out of his pocket a small box, and in the box he had a small beetle, and he put the beetle on the wall of the tower, and he put some nectar, perfume, on the antenna of the beetle, and then he put a small, thin, very light silk thread on one of the legs, and the beetle started to go up the wall with the silk thread hanging, and it came all the way up to the princess, and she was sitting there in her window, and she saw this small beetle coming up on the wall. So she took the beetle, untied the silk thread, and let the beetle free, and it could fly, so it flew off into the air. And she pulled the silk thread, and in the silk thread there was a string. This is the story of Mullah Nasrudin. There was a string, and in the string there was a rope. So she pulled up the rope, and she tied it in her room, in one of the legs of her big oak bed, which was very heavy, and she looked out, and the prince, now he could climb up. He was very strong and vigorous, so he climbed up the rope all the way up to the princess. He threw her on his shoulder, and down they went, and up on the horse, and they rode off into the morning. And as the sun was rising over the desert, they disappeared into the future, and they lived happily ever after. Now, you're thinking, how can this story give me the key to understand the nature of the mind, how consciousness is, and what meditation is? Well, Mullah Nasrudin, he told the secret. The silk thread symbolizes the breath, and the string symbolizes your mind, and the rope symbolizes the body. So when you get hold of the silk thread, when you have the breath and you can relax your breath, you breathe very relaxed and natural, then automatically your mind relaxes, and the mind is you got hold of the string, and when you have the breath and relaxed mind, you can watch the mind in a relaxed way. Then you got hold of the rope, which is the body, and you can relax the body with the thought relaxed, mind relaxed, and body relaxed. You automatically enter into the present moment, or present awareness of the here and now. And there is your freedom. And you understand the nature of the mind, which is not you, but only something going like clouds in the sky, flowing like the Ganga river, flowing like the unfoldment of the here and now, the universe, in each present second, split second. So, with this understanding, Pythagoras went out into the desert, and in the desert he practiced this attention on the breath. He was trying to get hold of the silk thread, and after 3 weeks in the desert, he was living only on wild honey and grasshoppers, according to the story. Then he came to understand the nature of his mind and his being. So with this understanding, he went again to the mystery school, and he knocked on the door, and they opened the little window in the door and looked at him, and he said, "Now I understand. I am not my accumulated knowledge. I'm not my wisdom and all that I have learned. I am..." And then he stopped there. I am. And he was just being itself, looking into that door, and he was led into the mystery school. And from that time, Pythagoras is the father of all Western Europe mystery schools that is present also today. That was all for today from Lukadevaras from Sweden. Namaste. And the Guru is in your heart. Same like in mine.